Postscript. I do not know the madman who wrote this memoir directly. However, I am somewhat acquainted with a character in this memoir who seems to be the madam of a stand bar in Kyobashi. She was small, had a pale complexion, with narrow, upturned eyes and a prominent nose, giving her a somewhat masculine appearance rather than that of a beautiful woman. This memoir appears to mainly depict the scenes of Tokyo during the years Showa 5, 6, and 7, but I visited that stand bar in Kyobashi a couple of times with friends around Showa 10, when the Japanese military began to act more openly. Therefore, I never had the chance to meet the man who wrote this memoir. In February of this year, I visited a friend who had evacuated to Funabashi City, Chiba Prefecture. This friend was a classmate from my university days and is now a lecturer at a women's university. In fact, I had asked this friend to help with a marriage proposal for a family member of mine. So, with that in mind, I thought of bringing some fresh seafood to my family and set out with a backpack to Funabashi City. Funabashi is a relatively large town facing the muddy sea. Even when I told the locals my friend's address, they had difficulty helping me find it. The cold weather and the pain in my shoulder from carrying the backpack made me seek refuge in a nearby cafe, drawn in by the sound of a record playing violin music. I recognized the madam there, and when I asked her, she turned out to be the same madam from that small bar in Kyobashi 10 years ago. She seemed to remember me immediately, and we both expressed exaggerated surprise and laughter at our reunion. Then we engaged in the customary exchange of experiences about our lives since the air raids, boasting about our resilience without asking about each other's circumstances. "You haven't changed at all." "No, I'm just an old woman now. My body has fallen apart." "You look so young." "Not at all. I already have 3 children. Today, I'm out shopping for them." We exchanged such familiar pleasantries, reminiscing about mutual acquaintances and their fates. At one point, the madam changed her tone and asked if I knew a person named Yo-chan. When I replied that I didn't, she went inside and brought out 3 notebooks and 3 photographs to hand to me, saying, "This might be useful material for a story." Since I'm not the type to write based on materials forced upon me, I considered returning them right there. However, intrigued by the unusual photographs, I had already mentioned their oddity in the preface, I decided to keep the notebooks for now and asked if she knew a certain someone from the women's university nearby, wondering what street and number they lived at. She did know, as she mentioned that person occasionally visits the cafe. It turned out to be quite close by. That night, I shared a bit of alcohol with my friend, decided to stay over, and spent the entire night engrossed in the notebooks. Although the memoir recounts past events, I believe it would still hold considerable interest for contemporary readers. Rather than poorly enhancing it with my own writing, it seemed more meaningful to submit it as it is to a magazine for publication. The only seafood I brought back for the kids was dried fish. With my backpack on, I left my friend's place and stopped by the cafe to say, "Thank you for yesterday. By the way." I cut straight to the point. "May I borrow this notebook for a while?" "Of course." "Is this person still alive?" "Well, I have no idea. About 10 years ago, a package containing these notebooks and photographs was sent to the bar in Kyobashi, presumably from Yo-chan. However, there was no address or name written on it. It somehow survived during the air raids along with other items, and just recently, I read all of it for the first time." "Did it make you cry?" "No, rather than crying. I just thought that if a person ends up like that, it's truly hopeless. Given that it's been 10 years, they might already have passed away. This was likely sent as a token of gratitude to you. There might be some exaggerations in the writing, but it seems you suffered considerable damage as well. If all of this is true and I were friends with this person, I might have wanted to take them to a mental hospital. It was their father's fault. She said it so casually. The Yo-chan we knew was very straightforward, thoughtful, and if they hadn't drank alcohol, well, even if they had, they were like a child from heaven.